Hey YouTube, Sub here with a review of the Power Rangers Super Mega Force Deluxe Q-Rex and Samurai Zord Armor Rangers. So this is our second and probably last set of the Zord Armor, so it's a little bit unfortunate because I do like their concept, and I do like, for the most part, the execution. I just need a little bit more paint to spice things up. But outside of that, they are kind of cool. These are $19.99 a piece. They were found at Targets and Toys R Us stores. I never found them in my area, and I still haven't found them in my area. I picked these up off of Amazon, so if you cannot find them in your area, keep an eye on Amazon.com. Link will be in the description below. So, without further ado, let's just go ahead and take a look at the Q-Rex one first. We'll go ahead and set the Samurai one aside. It comes with a little Super Mega Force Silver 4-inch figure that is completely awful. Like, there's no redeeming qualities about this at all. It's got a black stripe, yellow eyes, and everything else is gray plastic. The gray plastic does have a little bit of a sheen to it, so it's not awful gray plastic, but it still doesn't look all that great. Articulation is very simple on these guys. You just rotate and rotate. That is all there is to these. Very much reminiscent of the 4-inch figures available at retail, except obviously quite a bit dumbed down in terms of paint. These are actually awful and really hold no redeeming value because I honestly think the Zord armors look cooler without them. But here we have the Q-Rex Zord armor. And anyone with a brain can tell you that this is a remold of the legendary Zord armor from our first assortment, which is a little bit unfortunate. It's supposed to be the Q-Rex, and there's nothing here that emulates the Q-Rex whatsoever. The Q-Rex is blue. This one is gray because of the Silver Ranger. It does have blue on it that is somewhat reminiscent of the Q-Rex, but there really is nothing here that says Q-Rex to me. All the other ones have elements of their Zord in it, except this one. There's nothing here. They have the cannon arm still on here. If it was replaced with the drill, that would have been fantastic. The key arm is different. It does say Super Mega Force Silver in the Legendary Morpher. We'll take a look at that at the end. But as you can see, it's just a repaint. The head sculpt is new. It doesn't have like those little dreadlock things it had going on. And it still doesn't reminisce the Q-Rex at all. It has Gokai Silver and the Super Mega Force Silver's anchor logo on it. That's about all that changed. So, despite the fact that this is a Q-Rex Zord armor, it does nothing to make me think of the Q-Rex whatsoever. That being said, just like on any of these toys, you do have Zord Builder ports all over the place. Obviously, these arms are Zord Builder. The legs are just on rotations here, but you have clips that will lock it in place to kind of make an arm cannon. We'll take a look at that. So you got a port here, a port there, and a port there, and then obviously you have the arm ports and such like. So you got several little Zord Builder ports to mess around with, so you can swap limbs with the other Zord armors and all the other Megazords as well. So lots of playability here for the kids. But despite that, this just looks so plain, and being a slight remold, it's just not all that exciting whatsoever. So I have to kind of give this an easy pass. The Samurai one, however, is phenomenal. I love this thing. It does include the 4-inch Samurai Red. You can buy a nicer one at retail that I think will fit in here. Some of the 4-inch figures actually don't fit in here because of their poses. I think Samurai was in a somewhat straight pose, so he might fit. I don't know for sure. But the fact that his head looks as nice as it does, I think is kind of thrilling. Everything else is just red plastic, and as stated before, it's kind of awful. The Samurai one, I really like. You've got a saw weapon on here, which is freaking awesome. And that spins very, very well. Key arm obviously says Samurai in the Legendary Morpher. And as you can see, it takes a little bit of design cues from the Shogun armor and the Samurai Megazord. Up here, it is very much a lot like this, the Shogun armor, just the way that the armor protrudes and stuff. Yeah, the arms on the underside here do kind of look like the turtle monkey sort of arm design. But at the core, a lot of the Samurai Megazord pulls come from the legs down here. You got the square, you got the hexagon, so you can very much see the bear and the dragon down here. This is kind of like a lion, but not quite. I really dig the helmet on this guy, though. It is the fire emblem, as you can see, and it just looks really cool. I love the way that it looks. Black and gold's one of my favorite color schemes, so this kind of ties it all together. This is definitely my favorite of the Zord armors released. I just love the way that it looks. You have a decent amount of articulation in the arm here to get different saw poses, and it just looks all around great. I have to give huge props to this one. Now, with all these Zord armors, you can take the figure and kind of push it inside of here. There's no clips or anything, it just stays in there entirely through friction. And there you go, the Ranger is now in the Zord armor. It is what it is. I'm perfectly fine with just kind of dejecting the figure completely and just having the Zord armor be a Zord. I'm fine with that. So there we have it. Just because I didn't show it before, here's Silver in the Q-Rex one. Spoiler alert, it doesn't add anything thrilling to him. His little head's sticking out. But, yeah, I like them for what they're worth, for sure. And a lot of the fun comes with the mix and match capabilities. So let's pull in our Legendary Megazord and take a look. Okay, so for now we're going to want to take the hat off, and then the eraser off, and the jet off. That's all we really need to do to him. So there's multiple different things you could do. We could take our Zord armor. They want you to take the helmet off, and that will plop right onto his head to make a new helmet. And now you can attach the arms as you see fit. You can attach them like that. So now you got that going on, which admittedly looks kind of cool. As I mentioned before, you have the cannon arm here, just like the legendary version, since it's the same toy. You can take the cannon and stick it inside of the chest to give the cannon effect, so you can do that. And then they also show you taking this, clipping it together, and then the Zord Builder port right there can attach right here as a giant arm cannon thing that I still think looks like the Swap Megazord. And then they have you putting the key arm on here like that. So that's a formation in the instructions too. I like the big cannon arm, and so let's do something kind of fun in a minute. I'll take all these parts and set them aside and bring in the Samurai one. So if we bring him in, put the helmet on. If I can find the clip. There we go. I love that head sculpt so much. That looks fantastic. So as I did with the other one, you could attach the saw onto here, and you have that going on, which looks incredible. This entire kind of upper section, I think, just looks incredible like this. When you start throwing in the yellow and the pink feet, it looks a little bit weird, but the colors just mesh so well up here like this, and I really do dig it. I guess you can try to shove the buzzsaw in here, but unlike the other one, there's no holes for it, so you can't really get too far with it. So I wouldn't really even try to do that, because that would be silly. And of course, keep the key arm on there, and you can make the big cannon from this torso and pop that in, and that is the formation that's in the instructions with the big arm cannon. Additionally, you could scrap the arms all together, bring in the Q-Rex one, attach that, and now you just have a Megazord with big honking cannon arms. Like, seriously, you wouldn't want to mess with this thing. I mean, just imagine the lasers coming out of this guy's feet. So, don't mess with me, yo. Yeah. Now one thing you can do is that these actually come off right here at the joint, and these are Sword Builder, I believe. Yeah, those are Sword Builder ports right there. So you can actually split right there at the elbow joint, which is kind of neat and something that is easily overlooked. But as promised, here is the Legendary Morpher. And he has no secondary sound, which is a little bit unfortunate. And then Samurai. So at the end of the day, well, I'm not a huge fan of things that aren't in the show. If they look cool, I appreciate them. And the Zord armors always hit that spot for me. I like the robots. I thought they looked neat, and they were a nice little blend between Ranger and Megazord that kind of embraced the entirety of the season that I was representing. The Samurai one is fantastic. I love the Samurai one. The color scheme completely hits it out of the park for me. I love the saw weapon, and the key can actually kind of be like an arm blade when you sort of think about it. So he's kind of decked to the T in battle mode, and I just really like the way it looks. If you start adding in a little bit more silver paint on the arms and the feet for accents, you can get a pretty awesome looking robot, I think. The Q-Rex Megazord one honestly just kind of loses it for me. It does nothing to make me think of the Q-Rex. Adding a drill arm instead of having the cannon again would have worked wonders and probably helped at least a little bit. But being a straight up repaint sans a new helmet for the legendary Zord armor, it just doesn't work. It does nothing to make me think of the Q-Rex, and it completely fails in that regard. I do like the way that it looks. I liked the mold originally, and so I can't really fault it for that. I think it looks okay, but considering what it's trying to represent, I think it completely fails. If you picked up the Legendary one, I see no real reason to pick this up unless you're really dying for some more Zord Builder parts. The Samurai one, however, is a surefire recommendation for me if you like the Zord armor collection. If you're not a big fan of these, I still recommend the Samurai one because I like it that much. But if these aren't your cup of tea, then obviously it's a pretty easy skip. But if you're on the fence about any of these, I do definitely recommend the Samurai one. Pretty nice, even for $19.99. If these were $14.99, I think it would really seal the deal. But for $19.99, I can at least recommend the Samurai one. Q-Rex is just an all-around easy pass for kids and collectors alike. Just really needed a new mold for that one. So thanks for watching, take care, and have a great one. Bye.